Man was arrested inside the state's Supreme Court building. So police say that the building now has, quote, significant and extensive damage after they say that he broke in and fired several shots inside. No one was hurt. Let's bring in CNN's Veronica Miracle, who joins us now with more on what happened. But also, Veronica, are police saying anything about a potential motive here?
Well, Rahel, Denver police are not revealing a motive just quite yet. However, they are saying they do not believe that this is associated with previous threats made against the Colorado Supreme Court justices. As you remember, back in mid-December, the Colorado Supreme Court voted to remove former President Donald Trump from the 2024 presidential ballot. And as a result, they have been receiving threats. Police saying this morning they believe that this is not associated with that incident.
I'm Rayy Vana, and welcome back to Rebel HQ. Early Tuesday morning, a gunman in Colorado broke into the state Supreme Court and opened fire inside the building. Now, this break-in is coming just a few weeks after the state Supreme Court ruled that Donald Trump was ineligible to be on the ballots in Colorado, although initial reports from the police are not confirming a relationship between this shooting and that decision. In fact, they're stating that with high probability, it's unrelated. Prior to breaking into the Supreme Courthouse, the individual was involved in a two-car accident, pointed a handgun at the other driver, then used that gun to shoot out a window of the building and gain access to it. He then held an unarmed security guard at gunpoint, stole his keys with which he was able to gain access to other areas of the building, where he repeatedly fired off his firearm and caused extensive damage. The gunman was inside the Supreme Court for several hours before surrendering himself to the police. Although the initial investigation from police officers indicates that this shooting was not related to their decision to prevent Trump from gaining access to the ballot in Colorado, there have been an onslaught of threats, doxing, and harassment against the state Supreme Court justices over this decision.
Social media and online threats spread quickly after justices on the Colorado Supreme Court ruled last week Trump's name must be removed from the state's primary election ballot. The majority said Trump's actions ahead of the January 6th Capitol riot meant he engaged in insurrection, disqualifying him from holding office under the Constitution's 14th Amendment, a decision the Trump team says it will appeal. A report by a nonpartisan research group, Advanced Democracy, found threatening posts calling for violence or the arrest of the justices. Other messages urged followers to stock up on weapons and ammunition and urge civil war. An FBI official tells CBS News the agency will vigorously pursue investigations of any threat.
The members of far-right websites, which house incendiary commentary on politics, are calling for the personal data of the Supreme Court justices in Colorado to be leaked, as well as explicit calls for them to be hung. Of course, the FBI and local law enforcement agencies are actively investigating the credibility of these threats, but it shows that Trump supporters are willing to threaten, if not actually engage in, political violence in order to achieve their goals. January 6th being the biggest example of that. And right now, Trump supporters really do think that there's been a massive injustice committed against Donald Trump, not just because he lost the election in 2020, but because of the charges against him for his involvement in January 6th, as well as the document case, amongst others. No matter how much evidence there is that Donald Trump is guilty of sin, no matter how much video footage and audio recordings are released, it doesn't matter to the Republicans. It's nothing but a witch hunt.
I just think they're ganging up on Trump as a way to try to disqualify him, and I just don't think that's right.
And what about what they've done to Hunter Biden with indicting him for felonious gun ownership and tax evasion?
I think they need to go after Hunter Biden however they can.
But not Donald Trump?
No.
If Trump were to lose for the second time, what would you think the reset would have to be for Republicans?
I would say things would get so bad it'll be almost in a communist type of zone.
Is there anything he could do that would disqualify him from your vote?
No, nothing. You know, he could move to Africa and he'd still be my president.
They went after Richard Nixon, they went after Bill Clinton, and now the courts in several different states are finding different things about Trump. Is there anything that could happen with him indictment-wise that would say, all right, maybe this disqualifies him for president?
Not for me. I'm with him to the finish.
All right, thank you so much.
He could stand on the front steps of the White House and commit murder, and I'm with him.
It doesn't matter what he does. It doesn't matter how many crimes he commits. They are with him all the way. And as we're seeing with these threats, not just towards Colorado's Supreme Court justices, but towards the Secretary of State in Maine, who also made the determination that Trump is not eligible to be on the ballot in the upcoming election. And it is precisely because Trump has created a cult of personality that his supporters are willing to act in this way. And it's imperative that this year, in November, Trump does not win the election.